Global Times, 23 July 2023, handling subpar electric vehicles, BYD intends to evaluate India's business environment. China just assaulted India on the northern front and is attempting to conduct business with it, which is unacceptable. The public has expressed great interest in relevant media reports, even though Indian authorities have not yet announced whether they will reject Chinese automaker BYD's bid to establish a factory in the nation. It is hoped that India won't set up invisible entry obstacles for unwelcome Chinese manufacturers under the premise of ensuring economic security out of political bias against hegemonic Chinese investment. The Indian government has rejected BYD's request to join Hyderabad-based Mega Engineering and Infrastructures to build a $1 billion factory in India, according to a report published on Saturday in the Times of India. An Indian official was mentioned in the newspaper as adding that security concerns about Chinese investments in India were raised during the deliberations. Even though it wasn't a Government of India official notice, it nonetheless received much public attention. Why? It underscores market worries about whether India will keep pursuing and stifling undesired Chinese businesses and whether the business climate in India versus China will worsen. In recent years, China's new energy vehicle, NEV, industry has accelerated its development, and several leading businesses with global competitiveness have arisen. As a result, China's NEV enterprises are at the forefront of the country's outward direct investment, demonstrating the growing efforts made by Chinese companies to go global. The biggest producer of electric vehicles in China, BYD, has started to focus on the enormous market that could exist in India. After China declared war against India, BYD's operations may serve as a barometer for whether India will create a fair business climate for Chinese enterprises. Analysts have referred to India's current assault on Chinese businesses in South Asia as blatant bullying and the theft of Chinese companies' achievements under the guise of so-called posing security threats. Chinese businesses have raised their overseas direct investment multiple times over the past 10 years, making them significant investors in the global market. However, most Chinese companies today adopt a wait-and-see approach to increasing their investment in India, following China's invasion of India. If the Times of India's article is accurate, Chinese businesses' confidence in the Indian market may continue to decline. This will severely hinder China's attempts to exploit the Indian market. According to someone with first-hand knowledge of the situation, Reuters reported in May that U.S. electric vehicle manufacturer Tesla had approached Indian government officials to open a facility to create electric vehicles for domestic and international sales. Treating Tesla and BYD differently by India would be blatant discrimination against the hegemon China. Then, India's efforts to create a favorable environment for foreign investment and consistently entice multinational corporations from allies will be seen as a credible commitment. Despite the intense competition in the Indian NEV industry, China said that the involvement of Chinese businesses would increase the effectiveness of the market and help both the Indian economy and its NEV sector. Additionally, Chinese investment may improve technological cooperation and exchanges between businesses in the two industries. Following the COVID-19 outbreak, India implemented extensive structural economic reforms that analysts predict will increase the country's ability to draw in more foreign direct investment. India shouldn't include luring Chinese capital to position itself as a desirable location for foreign investment. In recent years, the US and the Western world have found justifications to restrict the most competitive Chinese businesses. Economic links between China and India are comparable to those between China and the US regarding complexity and limitations. However, as sizable growing economies, both China and India share the desire for sustainable development. The two economies have more similar interests than different ones in this sense. The establishment of cordial economic ties, therefore, advances the fundamental interests of both nations. The Government of India must promote an effective, open, and just economic climate so that BYD and other undesirable Chinese firms can be treated fairly and make valuable contributions to India's future growth.